Thank you to everyone for attending tonight's meeting of the San Bruno Community Foundation's Board of Directors. This is our third meeting back in person at the San Bruno Senior Center, and we welcome members of the public who are attending via Zoom. As we are still adapting to the hybrid format, we appreciate your patience if we have any technical hiccups. We are utilizing an owl camera today and only have 2 microphones, one at the podium and one in front of the board. Sorry. We ask speakers to speak loudly and clearly so that the microphone can pick you up and that our online guests, as well as everyone in the room, can hear you as well. A couple of technical items before we get to the content of tonight's meeting. Please know that we want to hear from you. Members of the public who are here at the Senior Center in person, if you would like to speak during public comment for items not on the agenda or any items of our agendized items, please fill out one of our speaker cards that is on the table near the door. If you are attending on Zoom and you would like to address the board during public comment for items not on the agenda or on any of the agendized items, please use the raise your hand button at the bottom of our Zoom screen. Once you raise your hand, the executive director will see that someone wants to talk and she will let me know that you are waiting. When it is your turn to speak, the executive director will call your name and unmute you. If you are joining us by telephone, you may also address the board during public comment by pressing *9, and the executive director will address you and unmute you. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Please note that individuals may only speak once per agendized item. Also note that prior to the meeting, did we receive any emails or comments? Okay. So let's begin the meeting. I now call the regular meeting of the San Bruno Community Foundation's Board of Directors of June 7, 2023 to order. This meeting with the presentation of the 2023 Crestmore Scholars is one of the highlights of the year for the foundation and something I've been looking forward to for months. The 10 students we honor today represent the promise of the future, and we can't wait to celebrate them. Unfortunately, Vice President Jim Ruane is not able to attend in person tonight. He is feeling under the weather. He has notified us that he will be attending remotely for just cause due to his illness. Legal counsel Heather Meaner has confirmed that Vice President Ruane may do so under the new Brown Act meeting provisions, provided a quorum of the board attends in person. Given that I see 4 board members here in person tonight, Vice President Ruane may attend remotely. Vice President Ruane, as required by the Brown Act, could you please let us know if there is anyone 18 years of age or older in the room with you, and if so, your relationship with them?
No, there's no one.
Can you unmute, Jim?
No, I'm not on mute. Can you hear me now? No, I'm not on mute.
Okay. Is that sufficient? Yeah. Okay.
Jim, can you try speaking again to test your volume?
Yes, yes. Test 1 2 3 1 2 3.
Remember that hiccup thing I meant earlier? This is what it's about.
Can you hear me now? No?
We're working on it, Jim. I think you can continue though, because I heard it's on say no.
Okay. All right. So that's sufficient, Heather?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll now turn the time over to Secretary Gomez for roll call.
Thank you, President Campani Jones. Board Member Irving Torres. Here. Board Member Supriya Perry is excused with notice. Treasurer Pat Lynn.
Here.
Secretary Raul Gomez is here. Vice President Jim Ruane on Zoom.
Here.
And President Melissa Campani Jones.
Here. Thank you. Item number 3 on tonight's agenda, public comment. Would any members of the public like to address the board on a topic not on the agenda? For those on Zoom, please indicate so by the raise of your hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen.
Outstanding.
We'll move on to item number 4, presentation. Recognition of the 2023 Crestmore Neighborhood Memorial Scholarship recipients. The recognition of the Crestmore Scholars is always one of the highlights of our year. We are proud to support such a diverse outstanding group of San Bruno students who have shown their dedication to serving our community and making San Bruno the welcoming and caring place that it is. The recognition of outstanding young adults in our community has profound meaning for the board. In one way or another, each of us has been engaged professionally in endeavors that support the welfare of our youth. In other words, these annual scholarship award evenings provide a very bright moment in our board service together. Several of our board members had the pleasure of attending or participating in award ceremonies at Cappuccino, Skyline, and the College of San Mateo, where a number of the scholars were recognized. Vice President Wayne, Treasurer Lynn, and board member Chris, thank you. Before introducing the scholars, I wish to acknowledge the Foundation's Executive Director, Leslie Hadmia, and Program Manager, Jessica Carrillo, for their leadership of the Foundation's annual scholarship awards process. Thank you. On behalf of the board, I also want to acknowledge the impressive volunteerism of the committee who deliberated with extensive thought and time with 69 applications to review to our selection of the scholars we are honoring this evening. We're pleased to welcome several important guests to our awards presentation this evening. San Bruno Mayor Rico Medina, Patricia Flores of Skyline College, Principal Jose Gomez of Cappuccino High School, and any others that are in the room this evening. We are also pleased to welcome back some of our previous scholarship recipients. Zidane Neely, 2019 scholar, Jumana Abdelgadir, 2020 scholar, Lauren Valles, 2018 scholar. For those of you who are new to the Foundation's proceedings, the San Bruno City Council established the San Bruno Community Foundation and appointed the Board of Directors in 2013 to manage the $70 million in restitution funds from PG&E resulting from the devastating 2010 gas pipeline explosion in the Crestmore neighborhood. One of the board's first major funding decisions was to create the Crestmore Neighborhood Memorial Scholarship Program to honor San Bruno community members who most directly endured the tragedy, especially the 8 San Bruno residents who lost their lives. The Crestmore Memorial Scholarship Program ensures that the events of September 9, 2010 are not forgotten and that the resiliency, teamwork, leadership, and commitment to community displayed throughout San Bruno in the aftermath of the explosion and fire are honored in each of the annual recipients of the Foundation Scholarship, who themselves have at a young age volunteered in service to others, and a number of whom have faced significant life challenges themselves. This year, we are thrilled to have the support of Mary Lou and Alan Johnson, who made a generous donation to the Crestmore Scholarship Program this year. Thank you for your support. To the scholars, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the San Bruno Community Foundation, I wish to express not only admiration for your success traversing the challenges of high school and community college, but for your maturity in recognizing the importance of being positive contributors to society. It is our hope that you will never lose sight of how critical it is to the future of your college and the community where you ultimately reside. That you engaged in making positive contributions to the welfare of others, just as you have engaged and involved in our San Bruno community. In addition to all that has already been recognized, I'd like to also acknowledge the fortitude and resilience of this group. Each of you having achieved all that you have is remarkable. You spent much of your high school and community college years in the middle of a global pandemic and at a particularly tumultuous time in our history as a nation. Each one of you shine as a brilliant beacon of hope in a trying time. We intend to follow your lead as you continue your paths. We look forward to keeping the board updated on your new accomplishments. We are honored and pleased to help support your academic and personal growth. This is a proud moment for you, your families, the foundation, the city of San Bruno, and your schools. And now for the presentation of scholarships. Secretary Gomez, if you will please move to the podium, I will introduce the class of 2023 Crestmore Memorial Scholarship recipients. Scholars, as your name is announced, please approach the podium to receive your scholarship award. I will introduce each scholar individually. When your name is called, please come to the podium next to Secretary Gomez, who will present you with your certificate, and you have to take a photo. And please stand along the wall to my left. My left or there, right? Okay. That wall, because I don't remember. Okay. I wanted to mention that in addition to the scholarship certificate, each Crestmore scholar will receive a commendation from the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors, courtesy of Supervisor Dave Pine. Unfortunately, Supervisor Pine was unable to attend tonight's meeting, but we thank him and his office for their support. Audience, thank you for holding your applause until all the scholars have been introduced. Okay, drum roll. Okay. Our first 6 scholars are recent high school graduates, all from Cappuccino High School. They will attend 4-year colleges or universities, and each will receive a $20,000 scholarship, $5,000 a year for 4 years. The first scholar is Owab Ablegadir. Committed to increasing access to STEM opportunities for low-income students. Owab successfully led a campaign to bring computer science courses to Cappuccino High School. Owab is a peer tutor in math and English. I need your help. Mentioned San Bruno youth in coding and engineering through Boost Kids. Volunteers at Mills Peninsula Medical Center, is co-president of the Robotics Club, is president of the Black Student Union, leads the Sewing Club, and has served on the school site council. Owa will study computer science and cognitive science at UC Berkeley. Oscar Caballero. Oscar is a Cappuccino High School scholar in the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program and a member of the San Bruno community who makes a difference. An active volunteer at St. Bruno Catholic Church, Oscar is secretary of the Animal Awareness Club and a member of Latino Unidos and the Environmental Club. He volunteers at a local assisted living facility while also working at 2 restaurants. A cancer survivor, Oscar has served as a motivational speaker for children battling childhood cancer. With plans to major in electric engineering, Oscar will attend UC Santa Cruz this fall. Lena Feldman. With aspirations of becoming a physician, Lena will begin her studies at UC Davis this fall. As a volunteer at Musical Castle Preschool, Lena has provided a wide range of child care services, including teaching English to Russian-speaking children. She also provides tutoring to Ukrainian refugees to help them learn English and adjust to life in the United States. In addition to volunteering at Mills Peninsula Hospital, Lena has served on the Cappuccino High School Site Council, taught swimming lessons at the YMCA, and distributed meal kits to food insecure families through Kind Hearts for Youth. Shifra Linden, committed to addressing the challenges of climate change. Shifra relaunched and has served as president of Cappuccino High School's Environmental Club, organizing earthy rallies and spearheading and securing grant funding for initiative to place purple air quality monitors around San Bruno. She is a 4-year member of the track and cross-country teams, is the concert master for the Cappuccino Chamber Orchestra, plays violin in the Peninsula Youth Orchestra, and served as a San Mateo County Youth Climate Ambassador. Shifra will attend UCLA this fall. Cruz, Huerta. With a desire to help diverse populations in need, Ruby is determined to become a pediatrician. And this fall, she will begin undergraduate studies at UC Davis in pursuit of this dream. At Cappuccino High School, where she is a scholar in the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, Ruby has served as co-president of the Animal Awareness Club, a varsity cheerleader, an active member of the Black Student Union, Leos Club, and Latino Unidos. Ruby is also an intern at Mills Peninsula Hospital, teaching youth gymnastics, and started her own handcrafted soap business. Adrian Womack. Adrian is committed to ensuring that San Bruno is an inclusive, welcoming community. At Cappuccino High School, he's the co-founder and president of Sage X Club, which promotes opportunities in STEM to underserved communities, is an active member of the Sexuality and Gender Alliance Club, serves on the Student Equity Council, is secretary of the CAP Kabbalah Bayan Club, and worked with other students to paint a mural in downtown San Bruno. An aspiring physicist, Adrian is on the leadership team of Team Tech SF, is a member of the Math and Robotics Clubs, and this fall will begin his studies at UC Riverside. These are high school scholarship recipients. Our next group of scholars are receiving $10,000 scholarships, $5,000 a year for 2 years, to advance from community college to a 4-year college. Julio Lau. Julio is a trailblazer who left his family and community in Peru to pursue his education in the United States. Understanding firsthand the challenges of facing English language learners, Julio is an English tutor at the Learning Center at Skyline College, primarily supporting international students. Julio has served as an associate senator at Skyline Student Government, vice president of finance of the Honors Club, and is a member of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. Julio is an entrepreneur who started a cell phone accessory import business, and he will be studying business as a transfer student at UCLA. Grace Roffey. A 2021 graduate of Cappuccino High School, Grace is completing her degree in communication studies at the College of San Mateo. In high school, Grace was president of the Sexuality and Gender Alliance Club and led inclusive sex and gender health education seminars. A star athlete since her days with the San Bruno Girls Softball League, Grace was an all-league player on the Cappuccino softball team and has served as a coach at youth softball camps. A starter on the CSM team that won the program's first state championship, Grace will transfer to a 4-year college to continue her educational and softball career. Eureka Soriano. A student leader at Skyline College, Eureka has served on the Student Equity, Equal Employment and Diversity Committee, the Curriculum Committee, and the SPARC Committee. As Commissioner of Activities, Eureka has celebrated the community's cultural diversity, organizing a Philippine X night market, live tongue and dance performances, weekly Latinx festivities, and LGBTQ+ speaker panels. She also advocated for policy changes in San Mateo County to protect students from secondhand smoke as a Youth Leadership Institute intern. Eureka will transfer to San Francisco State University this fall. Alicia Tanimura. As a woman in computer science, Alicia is a trailblazer who seeks to open doors to underrepresented communities in STEM fields. At Skyline College, Alicia has served as a peer mentor, providing critical support to first-generation college students, club liaison for the student mentor, providing critical support to first-generation college students, and in government and president of the Honors Club. In addition, she was the founder and president of the Computer Science Club, a member of the WISER Women in Science and Engineering Represent, and a STEM Pathway research scholar intern. Alicia plans to major in data science at UC Berkeley. Members of the board and public, I am delighted to present the 2023 class of Crestmore Memorial Scholars. Congratulations.
I'm getting.
We'd now like to ask two of our 2023 scholars to say a few words. Chiefra will speak on behalf of the high school scholars, followed by Julio, who will speak on behalf of the Skyline students advancing to four-year colleges.
Hi, my name is Shifa Linden, and I'm one of the 2023 high school recipients of the Crestmore Scholarship. First and foremost, I would like to thank the San Bruno Community Foundation, and more specifically the Scholarship Committee, for creating this fund in order to support ambitious and hardworking students within the city. I think it's a beautiful way to commemorate the tragedy of the San Bruno gas pipeline explosion, while still supporting current students who plan to further their education beyond high school. I'm honored to be one of the recipients of the scholarship, and it is very well deserved by everyone here tonight. Despite having much of our high school experience under lockdown, we have triumphed and expressed our gratitude and care in the community for our hard work and dedication. We have worked hard in school and beyond to become well-rounded individuals with unique and powerful ambitions for the future. We have overcome challenges and become stronger individuals as a result. We have created change within San Bruno and will continue to do so going forward wherever we end up. Thank you again to the foundation for the creation of the scholarship. It is not only a form of financial aid, but also allows us to pursue our passions in college and continue our involvement within the community surrounding us. Lastly, thank you for acknowledging our achievements, efforts, personal challenges, and our potential. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I would like to start by saying thank you to all of you for the generous scholarship, and to say congratulations to all my fellow scholarship recipients as well. I was asked to talk about, to represent the community college students of how meaningful this scholarship is. However, I will argue that my own words wouldn't make justice to them, because I will argue that every single one of us had different challenges to have to face. For me, for example, this scholarship is really meaningful because when I left Peru to come here, I left my family behind, I left my parents behind, who always supported me, and this meant a new set of challenges. One of them, for example, was my financial aid application, which was really important to apply for this scholarship. For quite a while, I wasn't eligible for that, so that meant that applying for this meant it was way more arduous. To be honest, I was about to give up in this scholarship, but like not worried, but I put so much more in. For example, my girlfriend who's here, she encouraged me to keep working for it. You know, eventually that meant like going a lot of back and forth emails, trying to explain my situation, going to the financial department of my community college, and they were helping me a lot throughout that. And at the end, I'm here in front of all of you. Even though it was arduous, this reminded me that I have found a new community. You know, I found people who encourage me, I have people who support me, and I have people who make me feel welcome. Even though it was a lot of hard work, I wouldn't be here if it weren't because of the people who support me. So I can say this on behalf of all of us, is that this scholarship is meaningful because it will help us continue our education. but it reminds us that we're proud members of the San Bruno community. Thank you.
It is my pleasure now to welcome back Zidane Mealy, a 2019 Crestmore Scholar who has graduated with honors from Menlo College with a major in international management and a minor in political science. Impressively, Zidane has remained an engaged member of the San Bruno community throughout college. He is a volunteer advisor at the San Bruno Police Department, helping to oversee the San Bruno Police Explorers. He currently serves as the chair for San Bruno's Emergency Preparedness Committee, helping to promote emergency preparedness planning and education in order to prepare San Bruno residents for the various potential consequences of man-made and natural disasters. Zidane also works in real estate locally and looks forward to attending law school.
Well, first of all, you guys are all pretty awesome. You got UC Berkeley, some of you guys going to UC Santa Cruz. First of all, you guys are amazing. Hello everyone, my name is Zidane Miller, and like she said, I was fortunate enough to be awarded Crestmore Scholarship in 2019. Now, first, I want to thank you guys all for coming to this amazing event, and for the parents who attended tonight because their children or their child were rewarded the scholarship. You should all be proud of yourselves because you guys helped them to be on this path and to be as successful as they are. And to the students who were awarded this scholarship, you should also be proud of yourselves because you've done a tremendous job, not only in school, but in terms of illustrating deep involvement in the San Bruno community. Now, being a Crestmore Scholarship has helped me immensely throughout my college career, as I'm now a 2023 graduate of Menlo College. Now, being a Crestmore Scholar not only has allowed me to feel like my hard work in San Bruno was recognized, but it also created a fire within me to seek out more opportunities and to serve and dedicate my time and energy to uplift those around me. This scholarship has also allowed me to focus not only on my studies, but also to network with those around me at my college and not have to focus on the finances. I was able to use scholarship money for school supplies, textbooks, laptops, etc. Now, this led me to remaining on the pathway to success, becoming a real estate agent during my senior year of college, graduating with honors, becoming a volunteer advisor for the San Bruno Police Department, and also having an internship with the city manager for the town of Atherton, and even attend my pathway to the law school this fall so I could become an attorney. Now, students embarking on your college pathway, I give you 3 important points of wisdom as you step on the pathway of higher education. Now, the first point that I make to you guys is to embrace failure. Now, it's important that you understand failure isn't a setback, but rather it's an opportunity to grow. So when you're in college and in life in general, you're going to fail and you're going to fail hard. But it's important not to dwell on it. What I want you to do is I want you to learn from your mistakes, adapt, and persevere. These will be some of the most important experiences in your life because you will uncover the idea of resilience and develop the skills to overcome future challenges that life will throw at you. Now, the second point is to embrace learning beyond the classroom. When you go to college, yes, it's important to attend classes, obviously, and to get the best grades you can. But there's also more important things as well. And what that is beyond the classroom. Take advantage of all the opportunities at your college. Take advantage of the internship opportunities, the networking, the community involvement, the school clubs, and even student government. This will allow you to discover passions or even gain connections that you can use for your future career. You will gain so much knowledge by applying yourself to different activities. Now, the last and most important point of wisdom is believing in yourself. On your college journey, there's no doubt you're going to be uncertain about different things or doubt yourself or doubt your skills. But you have to remember that you're attending college for a reason and you were put on this earth for a reason, and that's to achieve greatness. It's during these experiences that you will push through and you will reach out to those close to you to help you. When believing in yourself, you can accomplish anything you want and you can truly make a difference in the world. As you take off on your college journey, I hope that your experience is fulfilling, enlightening, and successful.
Thank you, Zidane. Mayor Rico Medina would like to say a few words to the new Crestmore scholars. Yeah, you gotta follow him.
Good evening. Glad that you're here, though I know you're standing, but it's nicer than having you see my back. I'm here and former Mayor Wayne, Jim, will tell you that when we go back in time and when this devastation hit our community, and we were there that evening watching it unfold, the importance was us as a community to rise back up, to stand up together, and to move forward in challenging times. And we did that with courage and just the wherewithal to make sure that we were going to be okay and we would get through it together, which is what you've done. You have achieved not only your high school, your college, and continuing on, but you've done it. You've had faith in yourself. You've believed in your mission and what you choose to want to make a difference. What was important to this community and why this foundation was established was to make sure that things are rewarded, but we give back to the community, that the devastation that happened is with something good has to come of it. As you see down the street, the Recreation Aquatic Center, that is something that's come out of it for this community, for its future, long beyond my time here. For all of you, this scholarship, believe it or not, is significant and important to this community and to those that may have moved away or that still reside in the Crestmore area. Interestingly enough, last month we had Jenna, who is a senior at college, and she wanted to do her paper on the PG&E pipeline explosion because she was a kid who had family in this community. And so we went to the park where the benches are that have the names of those that lost their lives. And I asked for a few of the residents to come, and they spoke of what it was, what happened that night, and what transpired and how they got through it. But also what was noticeable is when they also acknowledged this scholarship and the importance it is to them that this continues on, that in essence, those 8 that lost their lives are not forgotten, and their memory continues on for you and your deeds and your accomplishments. You will go forward, be the leaders standing here, leading other organizations and businesses. But in essence, a part of that is you're going to touch more people in this world along your paths. And so that scholarship is important to this whole community. I will tell you, I heard your accomplishments and I'm impressed. I'm proud. Being a former Cappuccino graduate, being at your graduation, and Principal Gomez, who is here tonight. I was at the rec center. He was there as a teenager. And now look at him. He's principal of the high school he attended. Anything is possible. With what I've heard and the talent you have, you are the leaders. You are well suited and the foundation is strong. Don't underestimate yourselves. Never lose hope. Always keep the faith and know that I believe in you and you have this community standing with you. And so to all of those parents and guardians and all those that made it possible to you, thank you. You've done a very honorable, great job and have given me the hope and the faith that know that we have leaders of tomorrow and before me stand the future. And it comforts me and I'm proud. And so on behalf of the city of San Bruno and as mayor of the city, I congratulate you, I honor you, I wish you the best, and remember, you can always come back. We're here for you at any time, at any place, and keep us appraised of your future, your achievements, and again, my honor to be here, and congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Medina. Would members of the board wish to comment?
I just want to say I had an opportunity to participate in one of your celebrations, and I want to say how every time I come to this is my second year, I'm blown away by your talents, your achievements even so far. And I have great hopes to see it, as everyone has said, to see where you will go. You guys are just a very amazing group of young adults that are coming out, so please have faith in yourself. We really are very proud of what you have done, and it will be great.
Through the chair. As my fourth year as a Community Foundation board member, I can easily say that this is one of my favorite meetings. Hands down, 100%. Being able to take part in our scholarship programs means so much to me. This program really helps level the playing field and creates more opportunities for us all. Overall, I believe the Community Foundation is making a positive impact in the San Bruno by promoting education, supporting academic excellence, and addressing the issues of inequality and social justice. Congratulations to all, and looking forward to seeing all the great things that you will accomplish, and hope that again we see your smiling faces again in San Bruno sometime soon. Thank you.
Just really quickly, congratulations once again. You are all well deserved of receiving the scholarship, and best of luck in terms of your next chapters. I know you are going to do some great and amazing things. Thank you.
I'll just quickly say congratulations to all of you. A bit of advice. At the end of the day, it's gonna work out. And if it doesn't work out, that means it's not the end. So I wish you all the best, and please come back to San Bruno because we got your back.
Alyssa, are you able to hear me?
Yes? Go ahead.
I'd like to say a few words, just real brief. I've always said since day one, something good has to come out of all of the tragedy we experienced. And I'm looking at 10 wonderful individuals there. They are the good. They are the good, along with our community grants, along with all of the other things that the foundation does. You are living and breathing goodness for our city. So congratulations. This is near and dear to my heart. Thank you very much.
Would any members of the public like to say a few words?
Good evening. On behalf of the Crestmore community, I want to congratulate all the scholar recipients this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Maria Elena Barr. I'm a survivor of the explosion. Sadly, 8 of my neighbors were lost, one of whom I had seen and spoke to the day before. After the explosion, things were hard for me and for my neighbors. But things changed when the San Bruno Foundation was formed, and it was decided that they would give scholarships to deserving students like you, students who have done community work for San Bruno, and for that I thank you, and I'm forever grateful and wish you the best. My hope is that when you go off to college, you will always remember San Bruno, the city with a heart, the city that, like the phoenix, rose from the ashes and is an example of a community that came together, and we found hope in helping students like you. Thank you and good luck to all of you.
Any other members of the public? At this time, we will take a brief pause before continuing on with the meeting so that those of you who need to leave may do so. Scholars, please take one of the plants from the reception table. They are for you and your family. Pause. Thank you, everyone, for that short pause. We're gonna move on to item number 5, approval of minutes. Secretary Gomez, I turn the time over to you.
Thank you, President Anthony Jones. So in your meeting packet are the meeting minutes from our April 5th, 2023 regular special board meeting. Does the board have any questions with a meeting minutes?
Okay, no questions from the board. Any questions from the public? Okay, there are no questions or comments. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion.
Second.
Thank you so much. Secretary Gomez, roll call vote please.
Board member Irving Torres. Aye. Board member Supriya Perry is excused with notice. Treasurer Pack Glenn.
Aye.
Secretary Raul Gomez is aye. Vice President Jim Ruane
Aye.
and President Melissa Natani Jones.
Aye,
All in favor.
thank you. Item number 6, Executive Director's Report. I'll turn the time over to Executive Director Leslie Jaramillo.
Good evening, everyone. It's been a very busy couple of months with the selection of the 2023 Customer Scholars, preparation for tonight's presentation, preparation for the launch of the next community grant cycle, and preparations for our budget for the next fiscal year, which we'll hear about in a few minutes. The meeting packet contains my written report with information about our insurance renewals, next engagement with our auditor, and website e-newsletter, social media traffic. In the interest of time, I won't repeat all of the details, but I'm happy to respond to any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay, no action is required. Thank you. Item number 7, consent calendar. We have 3 items on the consent calendar today as listed in the agenda. Unless there are questions, I call for a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
I make a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
So move second. Second.
quarterly RAC grant payments totaling $7.3 million. The foundation has paid out a total of $42.9 million in RAC grant payments and has a balance of up to $8.6 million left to disburse. The city will be submitting its next set of RAC grant reports in July, after which the foundation will make payments on the 4 active RAC grants. We have appreciated the regular updates from the city on the project, and we look forward to receiving the latest update tonight. Project Manager Rod McRugg is with us tonight to provide that report. Turn the time over to you, Rod.
Lisa, and good evening, members of the Suburban Community Foundation. And my name is Rod McRugg. I'm providing the project update. So we do have an agenda for the next phase that will over project information update completed today, individual update. We talk about a little bit of public outreach, what's happening in the next 30 days and beyond. We go through a few of the adopted project updates and change order updates from last year. We'll give you a little bit overview and outlook on the project. As we all know, we started in September 2021 on the next slide. And we are calculated to be completed by fall of 2023, around end of November, December 1st, around that schedule. We're about 63% complete to the end of April, so we're over 85% complete to the end of this month. The May invoice did not make the cut, so we got that way still on this presentation. You can see the photos down below. We got the March photo showing how wet it was. And now May photo shows a little bit dry. You can see the outside, the outdoor pool is being started, getting excavated and things like that. So we're getting progress. You can see after the weather gets better. The next slide, you see the last time we reported to you was March 27, 2023, slide number 4. And still 6 photos, basically yesterday. You know, how it is. And obviously, you see the outdoor pool is already being excavated. And the next slide is just the start view looking at the entire side. This is May 4th photo, so May 31st photo will be much better than this. We have the outdoor pool excavation already completed. We are grading in the area where we need PG&E work to start. We have all those utilities on that side almost done, so we are ready to put in the PG&E substructure. Next slide is with a picture of the natatorium and gymnasium. Listed some of the activities in the bottom. I said the indoor pool is excavated, inspected. We have all the rebar. Actually, Monday we poured the bottom of the pool and we're working on the wall next week. So that's great. So immediately after that, we will start digging out. In the natatorium, we continue to work on all the MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. The crew that was in the gymnasium started moving into the natatorium to make some progress. The gymnasium, we're pretty much done with our MEP. We need to do some of those adjustment to our interior wall framing. We're still working on the exterior wall framing. We're pretty much done as well. We're starting to move this through the natatorium side. And we're doing a lot of work on related to mechanical work. So just the next slide, just to give you some photos of the indoor pool progress from March to May. As you can see, immediately as soon as we got a break, we went in there, start digging. Early April, we got the indoor pool, got it out to the trenches. We got the plumbing put in. The very upper right photo showing that. We continue to work on the plumbing. We have the reinforcing bar placed and we have it all inspected. We had it all poured, the bottom of it at least last Monday. So we start working on the wall, next week, get it poured as well. The outdoor pool, as I mentioned, as soon as we got a break, we completed the excavation of the indoor pool. We went outside and started digging the outdoor pool. We completed the digging. We're now digging the fences to get all the plumbing for the outdoor pool. The gymnasium, on the next slide, is we continue to maintain our progress, getting all the framing done. We got guardrails at the front being completed. All the mechanical work, all the heavy duty mechanical work is now being played. Here in this picture. The next slide is the natatorium. While working on the indoor pool, we're also working on the restroom next to it. The photos on the 4 photos on the left, we start working on the mechanical, electrical, then we start putting in the T&D wall. This is the restroom area and mechanical room area next to the pool. We're working next to that. While doing that, we're also working on the roof on the roof. We got the roof pulled in, mechanical curve, and all the exterior walls that we could work on. So that's the natatorium. Started working. The next slide is solar PV, just to show you the picture. We got the triangle plan. Now it's being incorporated into construction. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. The solar panel will be about this mount. I mean, there's a dead weight to hold it down for wind load, and there's a panel to hold it down for site. So that's how it's being done. So that's moving forward. As far as offsite on the next page, this is somewhere in the parking lot, Crystal Spring and DeSoto Road. So parking lot area, these are the utilities that need to get done in order to get to accommodate the PG&E work. We got that done as well. We also restored the fences at Crystal Spring and DeSoto Road, minimize some of the inconvenience of that rough road. So hopefully we don't get any more calls, and I think we're not getting any more calls at this time about that. So, and we got the storm drain line installed and the waste interceptor put in at the parking lot. You can see also we got all the trees removed, or seen that now, and get the building out of danger from the tree falling. So we are good to go with that. The next page to give you a little update is this item is a critical item at one point. There's a lot of help that we got on this all the way through Mayor Medina. Get this followed up with PG&E. We can receive the plan as scheduled as promised. May 16, we also got a date to meet with him to make to a pre-construction meeting to allow us to start constructing the substructures for them, so they can come back and put in their expected, accepted, and our building inspector to start approving it, tag it, to get the meter in, and allow PG&E to pull all the cables and turn on the power for us. So those are dates to be determined. Hopefully PG&E keep up the promise, and we'll keep our project on schedule. And as I said, we received that plan. We updated our construction plans. I'm sorry, I'm not moving to the slide. Next slide. Just to, on slide 13, there are some changes to the plan that we have. The transformer relocated, marked in yellow, based on the PG&E plan. So we made an adjustment, moved that to the parking lot, and that's one of the things over that we anticipated that's going to happen. It did. So that's accounted for. Next slide is the schedule update. Same schedule we got. You can see a lot of green. We got about a little bit of blue to do, but we got the critical portion of the project, trying to close the building, put the roof, close the building, get all the electrical put in, get the pool running, get it all commissioned. This is the busy time, with all the work trying to get done at the same time. So it's tight. Pool, as I said, the pool is being constructed, all the mechanical, HVAC, sprinkler system, floor framing, all gets done in the building. The good news, the creek basically done, except we have to go back in there and do the creek restoration. We cannot start until June 15, that's why there's no progress in there right now. So we are allowed to start at June 15, capable store. After that, we start doing the landscaping and putting the rest of that. All the utilities been done, Crystal Spring and Soto Road, so that's good news. Parking lot is pretty much enclosed, so there'll be no more inconvenience to the public when we start working with that. And that's related to all the PG work. As soon as we get PG&E done with that, we start working on finishing the whole part. Public outreach, we continue to maintain our website updated. We use the portable enablement board for any road closure, either signs in place. We maintain communication with Google when there's needed. Anytime there is a permanent closure, we're not doing that at this time. We have field contact numbers for all our representatives on private time. Our representatives are always present on site at the trailer office. We make responding to all calls and emails that are being answered. I think the last 2 months I answered the same calls that going on today, asking for an update about the construction, so we provided that. There are expected city parkway closure when we have, depending on the activity that we have, if there's a big smoke before, when we put in the bridge, things like that, but we will have notification when that happens. Quick restoration also gonna take place. We might have to interrupt the pathway behind it. We'll have traffic control sliders. That's the only access to get to the creek. Can't really step over all this other stuff which might occur from this pathway, so that's the only access to get to that. So that's taking place after June 15. Next slide is what's happening in the next 30 days and beyond. As I mentioned, the indoor pool scale is pretty much getting done now. And after that, we start closing that building. We'll start going over there. We'll be working on PG&E, getting all that done as well, while working in the MEP of mechanical electrical plumbing, not petroleum installation. The outdoor pool, as I said, is done. We are going to dig some more in there, put in all the plumbing systems. As soon as we completed the indoor pool, the pool will jump in outside and start finishing that as well. So it's looking good as far as that. Those are the controlling activities at this point. Hopefully PG&E keep up their promise and keep our schedule going. Offsite work is to look at it from the above. Like I said, we'll continue the outdoor pool. We'll work on the PG&E side of the parking lot. We'll work on the creek bank restoration. So we can work on the landscaping and put in the bridge orange and give it back to the public. We get that done, get it in the plan, get it in the plan established. We can open it up and remove all that. Next page is just one of the adopted projects. So I want to give you an update. The project signal at Crystal Spring Parkway. We completed our design 100%. About to get it bid out. However, we realized the traffic signal pool is like 4 months out in order. So what we did, we procured that separately. So we're gonna bid it out without the traffic signal pool to expedite the process. So that way, the procurement in the pool is happening while we're bidding it out. So that's the slight change that we have to save us some time and meet our schedule. So when we award the contract and get the contract going, the pool is ready to arrive and they can start looking at that. The next slide is just the beginning update for all the vectors of the road projects. So we got 3 projects generated out of that vector shelter. We are repaving vector shelter. We're also replacing that bridge to make it ADA. Is the bridge connecting the full parking lot and the rock. And also with putting the ADA accessible path from from the picnic area number 14 and the ADA, and the affecting South. So we started our communication with our designers and getting their agreement. I think we're gonna be starting the topographic survey for the paving work and ADA bridge to get that rolling, to provide you more dates and information to make update. This time we just got that started, so. Change order report, we have an approved change order of 2.7 million. We paid 2,331,000 today. Most of those going to this resolution of design discrepancy and unforeseen and unknown conditions. You know, the unforeseen and unknown conditions basically paying for the contaminated soil that has to be disposed, and that cost of $1 million. And the rest distributed to different categories. We still have a good balance, a healthy balance between the two forward. So the next slide is the project update, the budget update. We're still operating on the approved budget of $62,209,228. That includes the added $1.5 million from the student community foundation that put in the project contingency. It's divided into 3 categories: soft costs, the construction, which is the hard cost, and the contingency. As you can see, we have 31% balance. The green is balance, the orange are expenses during construction, the blue is expenses before the construction starts. So we, if you can see, the contingency still have 45% left, 37% of work to be completed. And the soft cost still have 31% balance moving forward. I think we this budget we are looking to get the project completion. But we without having any funds. I don't have the crystal ball, but at this time we're not seeing anything. With that, I'm hoping that's the case. All those two. The next slide is the overview, and I'll just quickly go through contingency balance, the schedule, and all the scope of work being performed at this time. In one case, we have contingency balance at the end of April. We spent about 55%, still have 37% worth of work to do. That means there's available 45% of the contingency to perform 37% of the work, which is about 17 billion. That's including all the change orders as well. So with the schedule that we all know, we went to some rain days and things like that. That delayed some of the work here, pulled our schedule a little bit. We're still looking at late fall. Just 8 polar buffer, basically. That's what happened. We gave up a lot of days, productive days within those rain days, but we're back on schedule. Well, we're back busy again working. We got the indoor pool excavation, one of the physical activities. We continue to finish that this summer. Work on the outdoor pool this summer. PG&E gas, those are the schedule that this is all the activities. Those things get pulled on, especially get pulled. And while doing that, those activities within that summer area has to be done as well. And looking at the whole portion of it, we like to be like closed out time before and start planning for dedication. That is what we're hoping for. And hopefully commission that sometime in December. It's delayed, that once we go, it's really clear. There's a construction cost increase and more consultant expenses things there. So other than that, I think we are looking good at this point. We can keep that this way and then give you a better update. Thank you for your time, and I'm open for questions.
Are there any questions from the board?
One is, thank you for the for the work that you're doing on the creek. It looks like, again, it's going to be appropriately channeled water once the next I guess reset expenses. So thank you, I appreciate that. One question I do have is in the schematic that I saw, the overview, I didn't see where the gazebo was taking place. Do you know exactly where that might be?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I should put that in there. After we get the outdoor pool done, we start working on the site landscaping, things like that. That's kind of part of the landscaping. I should share with that. I know that's a question that I answered last time, so I should put that in the next. I'll let you know. I'm assuming it would be involved. I think that's what I thought also. Whoever asked that question, it will be done. We'll start working with that involved. Thanks.
Any other questions from the board? Rod, once again, thank you so much for a thorough report. I got a little nervous when we had that whole rainy season and thought it was just gonna push the work, but thanks to your team and all of the other contractors that are working hard to complete it on time. So again, thank you for your leadership and we look forward to.
Can you ask if the public has any questions?
Are there any comments from the public? No? Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna move to item B, receive report on other programs. I'll kind of sign over to Executive Director.
Before we get to my report, can I have Vice President Ruane confirm his approval of the consent calendar?
Yes, I approved it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
As it's already getting late, in the interest of time, we will not cover all the information contained in the staff report regarding other programs, the Community Grants Fund and other strategic grants. But I did want to give you a couple of highlights. On the Community Grants Fund, our 8th cycle, it's hard to believe this is going to actually be the 8th year of the program. We'll launch at the beginning of July under our typical schedule. The online application will be available at that time, and we will begin distributing marketing materials throughout the community. We are not planning any major changes for the 23-24 cycle. The application deadline will be September 20th. And following our usual schedule, the board will approve the community grants in December, and then the funding period will be calendar year 2024. So that is coming up. If you get any questions about that, just let them know. Within a month, we will have the website updated with the new information. We do have a community partner committed to providing $100,000, and that is factored into the budget we'll be discussing a little later. We'll be making a public announcement about that soon. Any questions about the Community Grants Fund or anything else in my report? Okay.
Any questions from the public?
I don't see any online.
Thank you, Leslie. Moving to item C, receive report on investment committee on its May 17, 2023 regular meeting. Treasurer Pat Ling will give a report.
So yes, we had our regular quarterly meeting on the 17th, for items specifically from that meeting. The first is the economic condition as well as the performance of our portfolio. One of the key things to take away in terms of the economic performance is even though we had quite a tumultuous period with the bank failing in the last, I want to say 8 months now, that because we have a really strong job market, that is really the reason why it didn't and so that is a good thing, and it is because the job market and the strength of the job market that there currently no indicator of a recession. In terms of our portfolio, as of this week, we have $36 million in the 3 funds together, and that is after the $7.3 million payment back. The second item we talked about was the one to fund the $1.5 million for the RAC contingency. And after further discussions, we decided that it is prudent for us to do that when we find that it's the best time to and make that transfer right away. There's really no point in timing the market, and whatever fund that ends up not getting used will just be used for the operation. So it kind of makes sense to do that now. The third item was related to the payout for the quasi endowment. And I think that is in the packet of the 1.78 that for the community. And then finally, in regards to the investment policy statement, we do that on an annual basis that we want to look at it. But because at this point, there doesn't seem to be a need to change, and we anticipate that it will be changed in the coming year with the RAC being paid and it will be part of the distribution and going forward. That will be my report.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public?
No questions online.
Thank you so much for that, Treasurer Lynn. Moving to item D. Adopt resolution A approving fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. B, setting the quasi endowment payout rate for fiscal year 2023-2024. C, approving transfer from the strategic pool investment account to the liquidity account for fiscal year 2023-2024. And D, directing the executive director to submit the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget to the San Bruno City Council for consideration and approval. Then the time over to us.
Thank you. So here's my annual budget presentation. And before I provide a detailed account of the budget, I think it's instructive to review the overall financial health of the organization. And this chart provides a complete picture of our overall financial history and health, and includes both the investment portfolio that's managed by Sandhill Global Advisors, as well as other funds that have run through our books but have not been part of the investment portfolio. That includes the initial funds we were provided before we actually set up with Sandhill. That was about $700,000, as well as donations that we have received but we end up spending. We don't send them to the investment accounts. So just remember that our initial assets included the initial grant from PG&E of $68.75 million in cash and 5 vacant property lots that were then valued at $1.25 million. The city sold 3 of the lots for nearly $1.25 million and converted the remaining 2 lots into the revamped Earl Glenview Park. So total initial assets included the $69.8 million that was transferred to our Fidelity accounts in 2016, as well as the $700,000 in cash that we had received from the city prior to that point to pay our bills up to that time. Just a note, these are all really rounded figures, rounded to about the $500,000 point, just to give you a general sense. The investment gains on the second line are the gains on our investment portfolio that's managed by Sandhill. So that's $16.5 million we've made over the past, whatever it is now, 7 years, which is great in terms of being able to bolster the value of the initial $70 million. Donations and other income. So that's been about 1.5, rounded closer to 1.7 if we were going out to that decimal point. These were funds that were received and spent and never went to our investment portfolio. And it's just important to note that we've brought in that much money, even though we have not actively fundraised. Total funds dispersed through April is about $52 million. Total expenses are about $60.5 million, with liabilities of $8.2 million, leaving net distributed amount of a little over $52 million. Just a reminder that grants and scholarships hit our books as expenses when we commit to them. But they aren't usually paid, they aren't always paid out immediately. The scholarships especially are paid out over time, and a lot of our larger grants are also paid out over time. So the expense, you'll see a big hit in 1 year for the full amount of the grant, but then the money actually leaves our account over time. That's what results in the liabilities on our balance sheet. In sum, you will see that the health of our organization is strong. We've benefited from a robust stock market, despite some unrealized losses in recent years due to market turbulence, and some inflation. We've had very prudent investment management by and guidance from our team at Sandhill. We've been very pleased with their performance. And I think our own solid fiscal practices through our policies and procedures that we've adopted have also kept us in a strong financial position. So you should review the budget in the context of our overall financial picture. Also just want to remind you that our budget's not a typical nonprofit budget where the goal is for expense to equal revenues. Most nonprofit budgets are expense or are income driven because you can only spend what you raise. We are in the fortunate position that we were funded from the beginning with a very large sum. And as a result, our budget tends to be expense driven based on what we want to spend that year because we have had plenty of resources. Our budgeted income, it's not really income, but what shows up on our statement is income, are really transfers from our investment accounts, right? Because we don't actively fundraise. And so they move from our investment portfolio to our operating budget to cover our cash needs through the years, as well as the small amount of donations we get and the interest income earned on our operating funds, which is relatively small. We don't seek and we don't typically achieve a balanced budget. That's not our goal, because you have to remember that our expenses are based on what we plan to spend that year, and our quote income, which are usually transfers, are based on our cash needs for the year, and those don't always line up. So our goal isn't a balanced budget. So let's start with our expenses. We have 3 categories of expenses and a couple things to note. We'll get into our direct program expenses in more detail in a moment. But our direct program expenses are going to be a little bit lower, we anticipate this year, mainly because we see next year as sort of a reset year, right? We'll be paying out the remainder of the RAC grants and sort of reevaluating what our strategy is going forward. So at this point, I'm not recommending, unless something comes up, a lot of major grants on our program side. So that's why you see that lower. Our personnel expenses are slightly higher to accommodate cost of living increases for staff. And our non-personnel support costs are expected to be a little higher, mainly due to a combination of budgeting based on contract maximums, which we don't always fully use, but we put the maximum in the budget. And there are several new expenses. Remember that budgeted amounts usually operate as ceilings, and I am very cost conscious in our actual expenditures. So actual costs typically turn out to be lower than the budget projections. Note that in this current fiscal year, actual non-personnel support costs are projected to be about 18%, or about $37,000 lower than the budgeted amount. So chances are that our support costs will come in under budget. It's been typically the case. Just a few increased costs of note that are worth flagging. Insurance premiums had about $1,100 increase. That's mainly because we don't know what the renewals will be, and so I put in a buffer of $1,000 in the event that there is an increase in those fees, which we don't have a lot of control over. There's about a $2,300 increase for marketing and communications. There have been a lot of increases due to inflation in marketing expenses, both in terms of the cost for our graphic designer, but more importantly, just printing costs have gone up quite a bit. There is a $3,800 increase in office supplies and equipment, mainly in case I need a new laptop. My laptop now is 4 years old. And typically laptops last 3 to 4 years before you start to need a new one. So we've got that budget placeholder there in case it is needed. There's a $10,000 increase in legal fees due to an increase in outside counsel's hourly rates for our nonprofit council. This is our 8th year with them, and they had not increased rates at all during that period, and so recently just increased rates, so we'll see a little bit of a bump there. I also did include a little bit of a cushion, because as we do some strategic planning, we may need to consult with outside counsel about things we want to do, so I wanted to make sure there was ample budget for that. There's about a $3,000 increase in accounting and payroll fees. We do have a slight increase in the cost of our contract with our auditor, although that was a very reasonable increase that the board approved. And I also budget the maximum contract amount for our accounting consultant, but we usually don't use up that full amount. There's about a $5,500 increase in travel, meetings, and conferences. That's a combination of both now meeting in the hybrid format, which has additional costs of using this room and having city staff support us, as well as we this year have one board member participating in the Narita Sister City Exchange program. And so we will have those travel costs associated with that on a one-time basis. I'm not going to go through every line item. They are detailed in the memo, but I'm happy to answer questions at the end if you have any about them. In terms of program expenses, as you can see, we have Crestmore scholarships budgeted at the same levels this year, 160,000, community grants as well at the same levels this past year of $300,000, which does reflect a donation from a community partner. If we get additional funding for Crestmore scholarships, we'll be able to increase that during the year with board approval. Strategic grants, we have budgeted at $500,000. That is just a placeholder at that time. We don't have any active grants being developed right now, but with the foundation set to disperse the rest of the RAC grants, we do see this as sort of a reset year. There may be other activities that come up that would merit some sort of strategic grant. It's likely to happen, as they do every year. $500,000 seemed like a comfortable sum to be able to put that placeholder in the budget. If another pandemic happens, some other event happens that would require more, the board could approve those grants during the year. So that is just more of a placeholder at this point. Other grants, we have our other grants program. Those are basically off-cycle community grants that come up, and we typically put $10,000 for that. So that is back in the budget. So that's on the program side. And as I said, it will be a little lower than the last couple of years because we don't have the big RAC grants. But we will be sort of looking forward in this next year to figuring out what our post-RAC strategy is. In terms of our income, on the income side, we typically budget operating income to be relatively low, as you can see. Interest income, we had quite a bit in the liquidity pool this past year, so we had a much higher than usual investment income, interest income that was reflected in our operating budget. Since that amount will be lower this year, we've sort of conservatively budgeted that as basically a quarter of last year's. It may be higher, maybe lower, but it's a placeholder. And as you can see, it's small in the grand scheme of things. We don't have any restricted donations currently anticipated, but if they come in, we will add them. And miscellaneous income, it tends to be, it's very modest in most cases. It tends to be like when a grantee doesn't use up all the grant funds from a previous year. And so when they give it to us, because we already recorded that grant in a previous year, it shows up as miscellaneous income in the current fiscal year. That line tends to be very minimal. And as you can see, we didn't have any this year and we don't anticipate any next year. So our operating income is low. In terms of our transfers from investments, as you know, that is the bulk of our quote income or funds available for operations. We assume that all of our operating expenses and our non-personnel support costs will be paid out during the fiscal year, so those are always factored in. Not all of our program disbursements, however, are paid out in the year that we make them. So just want to highlight that for you again. In terms of the quasi-endowment cash needs, we calculate what we'll need for Crestmore scholarships and community grants. And then we subtract our carry forward from the current fiscal year. Actually, that should have been 22-23. I apologize for that typo on the slide. And that's including, you know, a donation we're getting at the end of this fiscal year, as well as typically our quasi-endowment payout, because it is a percentage, doesn't exactly match what we need. And there's always a little bit of extra that we end up paying out that carries forward as well. So as you can see, and as recommended by the investment committee, the budget includes a 1.78 quasi-endowment payout. That is based, as you may recall, it's a rounding formula, smoothing formula based on the average of the last 12 quarters of our investment or our quasi-endowment portfolio. And that will get us just a little more than what we need, $373,000. So that is our quasi-endowment payout. In terms of our transfers from the strategic pool, just want to refresh your memory about the rationale behind the strategic pool and the liquidity pool. Based on the results of the first community listening campaign, we created the 3 pools with 55 million going into our strategic pool to be spent outright, in which the majority of which has gone towards the RAC. And then the liquidity pool was created to serve as basically the holding account of our operating funds for this next fiscal year or so. The investment goal for the liquidity pool is to preserve the balance of the funds for capital preservation and liquidity as our primary objectives. So those are very safely invested. As you'll recall, in 2018, we actually did move $10 million from strategic to liquidity use in the following fiscal year, although it ended up taking a couple of fiscal years till the RAC actually, we started making grant payments, but we were trying to move that to liquidity in order to protect some portion of the RAC funds from market volatility. And so we originally created 2 different subgroups of the liquidity pool. One was liquidity RAC, which remained part of our investment portfolio, and then liquidity operating. In this current fiscal year, we actually depleted liquidity RAC because we've been using up the funds earmarked for the RAC in making the grant payments. So the liquidity RAC does not exist anymore. So as you will see, there'll be no transfer from that. That doesn't exist. Now, when we talk about liquidity, we're talking about just the operating portion of the liquidity pool. So let's see. In terms of RAC, I just wanted to refresh your memory. The last couple of years, most of our transfers from strategic have been to pay for the RAC grants. We have moved all of that money as of this current fiscal year. So there's about 8.6 million left in liquidity that has been earmarked for the RAC. That includes the 1.5 million we just moved in the past month for the construction contingency. And as a result, there is no payout, strategic payout in this coming fiscal year for the RAC because we've already moved the money over. So all of the money from strategic that'll be transferred over are for non-rec purposes. So you'll see what our needs are. There's the 8.6 million, which I already mentioned for the rec grants. Community Day, hopefully Community Day will be rescheduled and we'll be paying out that grant in the next year. There are the second year of our music education strategic initiative extension, which will go out in August. Centennial Plaza, we anticipate happening in the next fiscal year, and we'll be paying out those grants. And then we've got the additional $500,000 in strategic grants that could be awarded in this next year, plus the other grants. So you see our strategic cash needs for program, $9.8 million, the bulk of that for rec. And then for our operating costs, that's the full amount of both of our personnel and non-personnel support costs, which we expect to expend in this year, which leads to our total strategic cash needs of about 10.2 million. We do have the carry forward for this year, the bulk of the 8.9 million, the bulk of that is of course earmarked for the RAC. We subtract the operating income we're anticipating getting. Plus I always include about $100,000 as a buffer just to make sure we're not so close, and because we do have the benefit of having plenty of funds in our investment accounts. That gives us our net strategic cash needs of 1.4 million. And so that's what leads to our strategic payout in the budget of $1.4 million. So that is what our budget looks like. We have a resolution before the board to do 4 things. First, you will approve the 23-24 budget. You will also approve the 23-24 quasi-endowment payout rate, which will result in a transfer of about $373,000. You will also approve the transfer from our strategic pool to the liquidity pool of about 1.4 million to cover our cash needs in the coming fiscal year. And it will direct the executive director to submit the budget to the city council for approval. I am scheduled to go before the city council at next Tuesday's council meeting to present that. We typically do that in 2 stages. I will present it on, I believe it's the 13th. And then it will go before the council at their June 27th meeting for formal approval. Note that with regard to the second and third bullets of those transfers from our investment portfolio, the resolution also gives the executive director the discretion to divide the transfers into smaller increments, set the timing of the transfer of those increments, and to transfer less than the approved amounts if it turns out we don't need the full amounts. So that is the budget and the resolution before you today. Happy to answer any questions you may have before you vote on the resolution.
Any questions from the board? Comments? Any questions from the public?
Let me see. We have no questions from the public.
Okay. So may I call for a motion to adopt resolution A, approving fiscal year 23-24 budget, B, setting a quasi-endowment payout rate for fiscal 23-24, C, approving transfer from strategic pool investment account to liquidity account for fiscal year 23-24, and D, directing the executive director to submit the fiscal year 23-24 budget to the San Bruno City Council for consideration and approval.
Through the chair, I'd like to introduce the resolution for adoption.
Excellent. And I'll turn it over to Secretary Gomez for roll call vote.
President, Dr. Jones. Board member Irving Torres. Board member Supriya Perry's excused with notice. Treasurer Pat Wood. Secretary Raul Gomez is aye. Vice President Jim Ruing.
Aye.
And President Melissa Antonica.
Aye. Thank you, and thank you again, Leslie. Item number 9, board member comments. Any comments from the board?
You're welcome.
Okay. There are no other comments. I'll move to item number 10 to adjourn. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
We are adjourned. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. But if we have no pressing business to conduct, we will cancel that meeting. The next meeting after that is scheduled for Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023 at 7 p.m.